That is why some of us are at war. I don't mean physical war. With some of our political elites that has also bought into this diabolical satanic idea that the Yoruba people, our Yorubaness must be destroyed for Nigeria to exist. That was not what we signed for. That was not what Awolowo signed for. And there is no in between. You need to be strong. That is why you saw what they did in the Connaught. Despite all of you shouting, they are closing schools for religious purposes. They are using it to fortify their civilization. That is why you cannot be a Yoruba political leader without embracing the Yoruba civilization, embracing the Yoruba consciousness. You cannot be a Christian extremist or a Muslim extremist and say you want to lead Yoruba politically. Kojo, we don't need people like you. Because you are anti-Yoruba, because our Yorubaness is secular. Our forefathers have been able to separate religion from the state. That was why we went to war in 1940 against Ilorin. Ilorin, a Yoruba city state, wanted to impose a Yorubanized Islamic system. Here is the bitter truth. We have the Afro-Asiatic Islamic civilization. What you see in Ilorin is a Yoruba stroke Islamic Yoruba Islamic civilization. Because I've studied the Ilorin Emirate structure. It's a Yoruba Islamic civilization. True and true. That was what they did there. You guys might not appreciate it. So brilliant. When we went to war, the most powerful blocks, Ilorin against Ibadan, went to war. Ibadan won, and that was the end. We are going to separate religion from the state. Do your religion in peace. I do my religion in peace. Religion must be private. So this issue that some people want to bring back into Yoruba land is something we fought. We used our blood. Our forefathers used blood to sort out in 1940. 185 years ago, to be specific. And we will do it again in order to preserve Yoruba civilization. If need be. And it's not by talking on social media, it's not by speeches, it's not by this, it's not by that. It's by joining us in Tiwa Health to do this job. It is by being intentional. Nobody is being paid for this. A lot of our political elites know that what we are saying is true. They know what we are saying is rational. That is why China is a superpower. Now, let me tell you civilization states in the world. America is not a civilization state. It's just an empire. It's an hedonistic empire. There's a concept called hedonism. Hedonism. But China is a civilization state. It has been existing in different forms for the past 5 years. Russia is a civilization state. India is a civilization state. Japan is a civilization state. Like I told you, how many civilization states we have? The northwest of Nigeria is a civilization state if they were an independent country. That was what Amadou Bello was saying in his book when I go and read his autobiography. The Bornu Yobe axis is a civilization state. I'm not here to speak for the Boko Haram, but you see those Boko Haram Kanuri guys, there's an ideology driving their madness. But we don't need to kill ourselves for Nigeria to know peace. We need to organize Nigeria properly, which some people are not ready to listen to, because they want to create something that never existed. Pan-Blackism, Pan-Africanism, but rubbish still exists. It has never worked anywhere. Because they do not have, they cannot, I'm sorry to say this, the Igbos were able to be prominent by doing three things. There was Igbo nationalism, which Chief Nnamdi Azikiwe did by creating the Igbo States Union, centralizing, giving them a single language, and they had that form of Igbo consciousness and Igbo nationalism backed with Christianity. So the Christianity as a spiritual base with Igbo nationalism was what created the Igbos. Take Christianity from the Igbos, there is nothing. So they've been able to use, take Islam from the Fulanis, there is nothing. So those two places, those two blocks, and they've been able to create. So, and unfortunately for them, they are within Nigeria. That is why they believe in Nigeria, in their own unitary system of Nigeria, than the rest of us, where they can go anywhere and be competing with other people and be dragging power, social power, economic power, political power with the indigenous people, because they are a product of Nigeria. Nigeria created them. The British created them. I'm sorry to say this, but that is how different nations were created, different places in different parts of the world. Ukraine was also a kind of a creation. Ukraine is an amalgamation of Russians, Polish, Belarusian, different people, Cossacks, Tatars. I want to create a Ukrainian identity. Just 200 years ago. So it is not something new. It is not something new. Just the way Ibadan identity was created out of war, out of the ashes of the Oyo Empire. There was nothing called Ibadan 300 years ago. There was nothing called Ibadan people 400 years ago. There was nothing called Ibadan 500 years ago. But Ibadan was created from 1820, from the ashes of the Oyo Empire. That Ibadan you see. So anything can happen, anything can be created. Human beings are capable of anything or changing the course of history. If you are mad enough, you can create something. So that's why you never see me mocking Igbos or saying, oh, they are a fake international British organization. No. They've created themselves, but the problem we now have is that they want to become the most powerful ethnic bloc in the South and the Middle Belt, trying to export their version of civilization. That is why you see that America and the Western powers are always there, we're always exporting democracy. Oh, they say, oh, they want democracy. They will say, oh, people are protesting because they want to overthrow government, they want democracy. People have not asked this question. What exactly is this democracy? Democracy is one of the arms. Western civilization. It's an hydra. It is hydra-headed. It has many arms, and one of its arms is democracy. It's like Yoruba ń sìn yìí ká máa sọ pé a fẹ́ máa export ẹ̀ pé ní Argentina kán máa jọba ń bẹ̀, ní Japan kán máa kì í ṣe pé king o, kán máa pé ọba Alvarez Adetokunbo Alvarez, like that was what they are exporting all across the world. I hope people understand what I'm saying. Just with the way we did to the Beninese, just the way we did to some places in northern Edo State, where they started having Oba. Just like we did in Togo, in Benin Republic, where we gave them our system of our spirituality and our system of governance. Because people don't actually know during the time of your Oyo Empire, one of the things Oyo Empire did was that they would take the prince, the crown prince of those vassal states, and they would take them to Oyole, where they would teach them the system of governance of Oyo, and they would not take them back to go and become kings in those places. So exporting democracy is a form of empire building, exporting their version of civilization. That is why you see that one of the easiest way to get funding, gbogbo àwọn rínú kìnìkan, àwọn guys tó ṣe NSAS yẹn, go and look at the NGO that funded them. They are saying they are fighting for democratic values and ideals. Because this thing is so packaged and branded that many of us don't actually understand what we are fighting for and what we are getting into. That's why you see that some people are saying, oh, the common law. During the time argument in Sharia, and Nigerian law is English law. They're not mad. They know what they're talking about. That's why some of us went straight to the heart on them. What should be superior? Is it your Yorubaness or your religiousness? You are not going to bring the Afro-Asiatic civilization of Sokoto and bring it into Yoruba land. You are going to alter the balance that has given us peace, that has given us prosperity, that has given us the edge and made us the economic power base and the pride of Africa. There are 3 trinities of civilization now. This is now where I'm going to hit the topic on the head. There are 3 trinities of civilization. And out of this trinity, if you are listening to me anywhere, you are listening to me across the world, ask yourself, which camp, which part are you? Out of this trinity, Yoruba sọ pé àrò mẹ́ta ni èdọbẹ̀ nù. What I'm talking about is also hidden and it's also enshrined like a diamond in the heart in one of the proverbs of our ancients, of our fathers. Wọ́n ní àrò mẹ́ta ni èdọbẹ̀ nù. Torí bá ṣe pè ní Trinity yẹn nísìn, ẹlòmíì rò pé ṣé church ni, ṣé church náà ń sọ ni. We are not talking about that. But tí mo bá sọ pé tọ́pìkì Yorùbá ronú òní, àrò mẹ́ta ni èdọbẹ̀ nù. Ẹlòmíì rò pé bóyá fẹ́ máa pọ̀fọ̀ bí ni. Àdé pọ̀fọ̀. Àrò mẹ́ta ni èdọbẹ̀ nù. There are 3 trinities in táǹpẹ̀ ní ọbẹ̀ yẹn, kòkò yẹn, civilization ni. Ní Yorùbá míì. 3 trinities. Civilization ló gbé gbogbo civilization ró láyé. Tí kíní yẹn bá ti dàrú, civilization yẹn máa parun ni. And there are 3 trinities. The first one are those who build civilization. The first trinity are those who build civilization. The second trinity are those who protect civilization. That civilization. And the third trinity are those who destroy that civilization. I will repeat. The 3 trinities of Yoruba civilization and any civilization in the world. There are those who build that civilization. There are those who protect that civilization. And there are those who destroy that civilization. Oduduwa, Oromiyan, those are builders of Yoruba civilization. Chief Obafemi Awolowo, those are builders of Yoruba civilization. Those are builders. Àwọn tó build nìyẹn, ẹ lọ wò. They use their blood. They are always martyrs. They say, Omo Odua. Those are the builders of Yoruba civilization. That is why you are not just any kind of a people in Nigeria. You are different. Because you are coming from a civilization block that other people do not possess. It is not, look, it is not arrogance. It is not insult. Our societies in pre-colonial Nigeria was far more advanced than each other. Riba kan náà. Lè fi society Yoruba kẹ́fi wá wọn fi kọ̀ ìbíbí o. Ó yàtọ̀. You're not arrogant for having that kind of, you're not arrogant or saying what is not, you are not supposed to say. Civilizations are different. Civilizations are far more rugged and far more disciplined and far more rugged than each other. Many people do not know why Turkey, an Islamic nation, is in NATO. Have you ever asked yourself that question? Why Turkey, an Islamic civilization, is in NATO? Can anybody on stage answer that question? Donka, please, can you help me? Why Turkey, an Islamic civilization, is in NATO? The host, can you hear me? Can you help me? Aki? Can anybody hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, very well. I'm going.
Yeah. Why? Answer a question.
Well, I'm not.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Why is Turkey an Islamic country in NATO? Well, let me answer the question. The question is historical. Turkey might be an Islamic country, but Turkey is the inheritor of the Byzantine Empire. The original name of the Turkish civilized Turkey of the Ottoman Empire, kò ń ṣe Ottoman Empire, kò ń ṣe Turkey. It was the Europeans gangan náà mọ̀ make sure náà mọ̀ enforce the Ottoman Empire yẹn. There is a reason for it. The real name of the Ottoman Empire is the Sultanate of Rome. When the Ottoman Turks conquered Byzantine Empire, which was the Eastern Roman Empire, the agenda was they will march down to Rome and take over to rebuild the entire Roman Empire. So the Eastern Bloc of the Roman Empire, only Turkey control yẹn, olówà lọ́wọ́ wọn yẹn. So in the real sense of it, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Israel, current day Turkey, Azerbaijan, Armenia are tentatively European countries. Many of them are Arabized people. They are not Arabs. Their genetic studies does not show Arab. They are not Arabs. Many of them are Phoenicians. They are Greeks. They are Romans. A large percentage, they are Kurds. They are not Arabs. A large percentage, that's why their place will never know peace. Because there is an internal ethnic war where they are trying to de-Arabize and saying we are not Arabs. That is why it is very difficult to have one Arab world. Because one can say Arab ni wọ́n ṣe ethnically Arabs. They enforce Arab language on them, and many of them converted. Religion is just a tool. It's nothing in those areas. They don't give a damn about it. So Turkey is the Sultanate of Rome. As I'm talking, you can Google, fact check what I'm saying. So you have the Sultanate of Rome. You cannot have NATO which is North Atlantic Treaty Organization, Turkey might not be in the EU. Turkey is part of the EU. Socially, football-wise, culturally, everything, they are in the EU. They are in NATO. They are in the European Union, EEA. And they are respected. And because fundamentally, civilization, it is the same contiguous Roman civilization. Roman civilization, which we call Pax Romania, was not founded on Christianity. Julius Caesar was not a Christian. Emperor Julius Caesar was not a Christian. Emperor Octavius was not a Christian. Emperor Augustus was not a Christian. People like Brutus was not Cicero. They were not Christians. It was Emperor Constantine that became a Christian and Christianized Rome for political reasons. That is why lè sọ pé lọ́rin òun ṣara yín, lè sọ pé lọ́rin òun ṣe lẹ̀ Yorùbá, kàn máa ní arrangement tẹ́ fi máa kó wọn mọ́ra ni. They are an extension. That is the base of the entire Yoruba civilization of the Yoruba speaking world. So I have told you the three trinities of civilization. Ask yourself today, we are not built Oduduwa, Awolowo, Oromiyan, àwọn yẹn ti build the Yoruba civilization. They built Ife civilization. Those ones have done their job. Now there are two camps now. Some baba yẹn ti lọ. Awolowo ti wá tó ti rebuild there. Àwọn yẹn ti lọ. Now there are two camps now. Those that are rebuilding, that are protecting Yoruba civilization, and those that are destroying Yoruba civilization. Ask yourself tonight, which camp do you belong? Do you belong to the camp of those destroying Yoruba civilization with wokeness? Or do you belong to the camp of those that are protecting Yoruba civilization? And what are the components of civilization? Language, culture. Now, Yoruba civilization is a unique civilization. Very, very complete. Very, very rugged. Very, very complete. That's why I said it's on the same level, or like Chinese civilization and Hindu civilization. It's on the same level with those civilizations. But if you look at what China has done, China has been able to rejig its civilization for the past 100 years. In order to be able to survive, a civilization must be able to rejig itself. China used to be more of a Confucius and a Buddhist civilization state. So most of them were Buddhists. And Buddhism was even not from China, it was from India. So they got, the Buddhism got into China, and China did what they do best, which they pardon my grammar, pardon my English, they Chinesized Buddhism. In the real sense of it, in the real political sense, political scientific term, we call it Sinicize. And turned it, so they created it. So the Buddhism you see in China is different from the Buddhism. It's different from the Buddhism you see in Tibet. It's different from the Buddhism you see. It's different from the Buddhism you see in India. It's different from the Buddhism you see in Vietnam. It's different from the Buddhism you see in Thailand. That's why the Christianity you see in Yoruba land is different from the Christianity you are going to see in Uganda. It's different from the Christianity you see in America. It's different from the Christianity you see in Russia. The Christianity you see in Russia is different from the Christianity you see in Rome. You must be able to domesticate anything you bring into your space. Today, la fi ń sọ pé àwọn kan alákatakítí àwọn extremist Muslim, extremist Christians, because they refuse to understand pé ẹ lè gbé bá ṣe ń ṣe Islam ní Arab tó fit into their ní Saudi Arabia tó fit into their culture. O lè gbèrú ẹ̀ wọlé Yorùbá. Ó délé Yorùbá rú. O lè gbé bá ṣe ń ṣe Christianity bá ṣe ń ṣe ní Russia. Àwọn Orthodox yẹn kó wá gbèrú ẹ̀ wọ Ìbàdàn. Wọ́n máa wò pé ṣé ò ya wèrè pé irú Christianity wo lè gbé wọlé. Ọkọ̀ gbé kẹ́rùbù àṣẹra fọ̀bí sẹ̀lẹ̀ kó gbé lọ Moscow. Wọ́n máa fi ẹ́ sí, wọ́n máa fẹ́ sí tó òkun, wọ́n bá fi ẹ́ sọ́gbẹ́ ẹ̀wọ̀n. Wọ́n á fi ẹ́ síbi tán tí ń fi àrùn ọpọlọ. Because you have to understand the different civilization. And there is a most important thing that if you see Yoruba sing, we cannot afford the Yoruba civilization to be turned into an aesthetic civilization. Tẹ́gbẹ́ ẹ kàn máa dress, ẹ kàn máa wé gèlè, ẹ kàn máa fi kọ̀kọ́ kúkọ, lọ́sàn-án Ramadan, lọ́sàn-án. That is those are things, those are ephemerals of the Yoruba civilization. The most important aspect of Yoruba civilization is the political Yorubanism, the economic Yorubanism, and the spiritual Yorubanism. Àwa ò lè ṣe yẹn, bẹ́ẹ̀ tó ń la wọn Yorùbá tó wà ní gbogbo more than 20 countries ní South America, Central America àti North America. Òun náà fi retain Yorùbá náà sí wọn. But we, many of us are Muslims, many of us are Christians, and that does not say we are not Yoruba. But we ibi tí political aspect yẹn àti lack ń bẹ. Without the political power, you cannot protect any structure. And we are so weak that, look, there are in Yoruba land, in Nigeria. Nigeria is not one big happy family. There is a brutal struggle for power. Yoruba people need to wake up and smell the coffee. We are struggling for power in Nigeria. And we have competitors in Nigeria. The Igbos are competitors to Yoruba people. Look, I have no problem with Igbos. I have fantastic Igbo friends. It's just like saying we have friends that are Germans. We have friends that are Pakistanis, Hindus. We have friends that are Jews, that are Russians, that are Ukrainians. Yeah. Those are personal relationships. Can even have them as girlfriends, as concubines, as wives. Those are your personal life. But when it comes to your race, when it comes to civilization issues and survival issues, oníkálukú máa mú side ẹ̀ ni. So in Nigeria, we have Hausa friends. Many of us have Fulani friends. But when politics comes, we are competitors. And since we are competitors, what do competitors do? They compete. They compete viciously, aggressively. That is where the world is. Bí Ọlọ́run ṣe dáyé nìyẹn. Except you want to become a weakling. A weakling in Nigeria. I said there are three different. No, look at Rufai of Toshishe Pẹ̀lú Arise TV and the rubbish he says all the time. Those are people who say they are Yoruba by name, but they are part of those destroying Yoruba civilization by their actions. And there is no civilization where you are never going to have such a people. What is scary, especially what we saw since 2023, is that there is a huge decadence within Yoruba land. where a lot of our youth have become enemies of Yoruba civilization. It is better not to get into some problems than to get into it. And people that I'm sorry to say this, people that were even converted through many of our messages and our activism, on our activities, many of them felt, I want to know Yoruba civilization. I can say, Yoruba. It is more than that. There is a lot we need to learn from the Fulanis, the way they handle power. Because the Yorubas of 2025 is different from the Yorubas of 1800 and Oduduwa. So we need to look at people that are still white. The Fulanis are white, the Igbos are white. And the world does not remember the calm people. The world does not remember the gentle people. The world remembers the strong. People remember Julius Caesar. How many people remember the people that Julius Caesar conquered? The world remembers Genghis Khan and his ruthless Mongolian army. How many people remember the millions of people he killed? I am sorry to say this. I have read several historical texts and historical books, history books, and one thing I can assure you, the world is not kind to the weak. The world is not kind to the weak. If you use your entire life like Taishola and be doing human rights, Iyalema Jebobe. Even the weak will become strong and they will start trying to tell you your history. Haven't we seen what the minorities are doing to Yoruba people in Nigeria, saying towards us, despite everything we did for them in the First Republic? But the Arewa and the Igbos that oppress them, they see them as as good people. Because people don't respect weak people. They think you cannot protect them. They think you are useless to them. You need to be strong. You need to be intentional about self-preservation, about your marriage, where you spend your money, how you sell your land, how you invest, who you put into power. What we did to GRV in Lagos was a message to him that the Yoruba civilization is still alive. It's still alive, well, strong, and powerful. And that is what we need to continue to do. We need to don't Emma Bokanje, èyàn 300, èyàn 1,000 ló ń gbọ́ wa, èyàn 10,000 ló ń gbọ́ wa. It is going to, don't worry. Don't worry. And this is not about 2027. This is not about 2031. This is not about 2039. This is about year 2200. In the next 200 years, many ethnic nations would have been wiped out in Nigeria. I'm saying this, many cities will no longer exist. Many countries will no longer exist on the surface of the earth. The question I'm going to ask you, brothers and sisters, today is that will Yoruba land exist? Civilizations are not built through talks, through weakness, through protest, through placards. Civilization is built on strength. The Yoruba civilization is complete. It's on spirituality, system of governance, culture, language, identity, resilience. So you are the king of the South. Because everything, your music, language, everything dictates the entire South. That is why the war between Middle Belt and the core North, when they say we are not the North, they are protecting the North civilization. Southern Kaduna University, yeah. There is one particular Southern Kaduna University. Now, this is where I'm going to stop, so that I can allow Bonga to also come in, because we want to be very, very time conscious. The Southern Kaduna University, there was no university in Southern Kaduna ever since that place has existed since 1914. And one of their illustrious sons created a private university called Knock University. Kini tó ṣe yẹn, ó bí àwọn powers that be nínú. How dare you call this thing Knock University? Wọ́n dẹ̀ lóye FCC, wọ́n fi jẹ́lẹ̀, wọ́n ló kówó jẹ. University yẹn ni Tinubu lọ gbé jáde padà tán lọ sọ the University of Southern Kaduna, Federal University of Southern Kaduna. Wọn ò bá máa fi bẹ̀yẹn máa sin màálù ni. Still a laughing matter. Creating universities, Oduduwa universities, kinikan, those are symbolism of power. And the protection of your heritage, the protection of your institution. And the institutionalization of your civilization. You cannot bring Judeo-Christian civilization on Yoruba land. Okun kan tán fi ṣe policy, tán fi nationalize all the Christian missionary universities, secondary schools ní 80s. Because it was being used by the colonialists for their own colonizing missions. It's the bitter truth. Because a lot of Yoruba people are confused. I'm not saying anybody should not go and do Yoruba religion, but Yoruba land is secular. And so shall it be. We are a secular civilization. And we became secular because of the attacks starting in from time to time. It's not different from what happened to the Chinese. Before the Opium War of the first half of the 19th century, between 1920 and 1920, 90%, a large 80% of the Chinese people were Buddhists. By the time the Opium War started and the French and the British properly invaded China, and Japanese also invaded China, a large chunk of the Chinese people became Christians and became Muslims. People don't know this. So it's not different from us. Before the fall of the Oyo Empire, majority of Yoruba people were practicing Yoruba religion. After the fall of the Oyo Empire, they believe by doing that, they will destroy your civilization forever. The power of the Roman Empire and Western civilization has been built on the erasure and the destruction of other civilizations. The power and strength of the Arab civilization has been built on the destruction and erasure of other civilizations. The power of the Fulani Islamic Afro-Asiatic civilization has been built on the destruction of other civilizations. And it is not their fault. This is the way the world is. We are seeing it the way it is. So we are not going to be emotional about this. So some people might say, oh, what is he saying? But it's the bitter truth. It's the bitter truth. So this is the Trinity of civilization of the Yoruba people. Those who build civilization, those who protect civilization, and those who destroy civilization. I ask you today, brothers and sisters, which camp do you belong? Are you part of those destroying it? Do you speak Yoruba language to your children? Are you giving your children Jaden, Sanchez, Romeo, Osasuna, and Oruko? Is that the kind of name you are giving your children? If that is the kind of people camp you belong, you are part of those destroying Yoruba civilization. If you are part of those that say, Igbo le jẹ governor l'Eko now, Igbo le jẹ governor l'Ogun, you are part of the enemies of Yoruba civilization. Ṣé bí wọ́n ń ṣerú ẹ̀ ní England? England runs a monarchy system. We have the King of England. Thank you, everybody, once again. It's been a wonderful time to speak with us. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. Over to you, moderator.